Bonjour, Anning, Dinamagnetic. Nigani Akin in Edith Nikas, can you do them sagging Donjiba? Nigashke Dina, Mayaga depending it Madis when me was Yemani do. Minoagi Benis Nung Mino. Joanji gave away no Gunga. You need to win Gamush to on. Good morning, my relatives. First of all, let me begin by acknowledging my brother for using the gift of song and the gift of the drum that has the power to be able to invoke the Spirit to come within our presence so that we can be inspired to live from the heart. That has always been the way of our people, is never to overstep and acknowledge and show gratitude and appreciation to Spirit that has always been there for all of us to be inspired, to be able to live in a good way. We are living in a time that we really need to seriously consider the way in which we are treating the earth. As Indigenous peoples, the legacy left to us by our ancestors is a way of life that reflects a sacred relationship with the earth. As Anishinaabe people, in our language we say, living a life from the heart. And that is who we are as Indigenous people. We are a giving and we are a sharing people. And as we look back in more recent times, we see the destruction brought about by humankind's greed and lust for power. As they spend the inheritance of their own children, the struggle to find our rightful place in our homeland continues. It is still the world of imposition and marginalization. Clearly, it is a challenge of identity. Colonization has had a disastrous effect and impact on the lives of First Nations. The Canadian Prime Minister recently spoke at the United Nations, confirming the negative impacts of the legacy of colonialism. The question remains, how do we move forward and support the vision held by the First Peoples? The solution has to be found within the people themselves, who have been tremendously impacted. There is a shared responsibility with the governments, education, judicial, and private enterprise to help support what was taken away. So many have suggested that a complete assimilation would be the resolve to the Indigenous problem. I beg to differ. The proposed concept of assimilation would bring an end to the identity of a people who have a way of life filled with knowledge that can help humanity, for example, deal with the current challenge of climate change. Today, more young people in the academic environment have begun to recognize the signs of assimilation. One of the effects of colonization. Recently, an Indigenous young person at the university shared her perspective with one of the knowledge keepers, and she said, as young people entering the university, if we don't reach out to our own elders and traditions and learn about our true identity, we are the generation that will fast track the total assimilation of our people. She was correct. The most important part of our knowledge as a people is the Spirit that we nurture through our ceremonies. We have always been a ceremonial people. We give thanks for everything we are given in life and receive our guidance, our direction, and our inspiration through ceremony. If we are truly to live our identity as Indigenous peoples, we must always begin with ceremony. We cannot overstep the Spirit. The intention of our knowledge keepers has always been to highlight spirit and ceremony and the values that underpin the Indigenous knowledge. Traditional knowledge keepers and elders are a resource in seeing the world in a way that is rooted in the Spirit and in the land. The solutions to effectively adapting to our changing earth lie in embracing values and teachings found through the observation of the earth itself. Values our people know as spiritual laws and natural laws. Natural laws are not negotiable. They require our compliance. And our people have always understood that you cannot put yourself above these natural laws because they're only there to offer us the fullness of finding balance and harmony in life. What we have recently proposed in our lodges is that we establish ancestral schools of knowledge, and it should be a priority in showing respect for the unique peoples. If we can begin there, it would lead to a greater respect and understanding towards each other. Our strength as a people is in the alliance we have with nature. We rely on nature for its teachings and its sustenance. We have always lived and believed that the earth is alive and has a spirit. The spirit of the earth was to be acknowledged with gratitude and ceremony. We have remained faithful and loyal to these protocols. We propose that young people be given maximum opportunity to be able to go through rites of passage that would help them to come to terms with having a much more sacred relationship with each other as human beings and to have a sacred relationship with the land itself. These rites of passage should be a part of every young people in our homeland. And it should be encouraged that it be the knowledge keepers, that we are the true leaders of our homeland. And we, as being the true leaders of our homeland, we want to share a leadership that is based on moral values and ethical values that can lay a foundation that can support a new world. Paramount in these defined actions is the education of the youth. Land-based experiences led by Indigenous peoples with the help and support of other expertise such as the scientific community. We cannot separate or fragment the land into approaches when everything is connected and related to how we all take care of the land. For us, in this area, at the Turtle Lodge, in our house, our place of strength, where our leadership as elders and knowledge keepers is rooted. It was built based on a vision received on the land. Our sacred lodges and outside in nature are the places where ceremonies live and practiced in their fullness. Using our sacred places for these meetings and practicing our ceremonies makes our alliance and work together all that much more powerful as we are supported and inspired by the forces of nature and spirit itself. Whatever approach that is agreed upon, I suggest that ceremonial approach of the Indigenous people lead the process. We need to set up a ceremonial context. This approach will ensure the true practice of our nationhood, and it will ensure going beyond just the politics. Setting a ceremonial context is the key to our success and is a process that we as knowledge keepers at the Turtle Lodge would be prepared to engage in. We have so much to offer as a people. And in following the legacy of our ancestors, we have continued that spirit in the fullness of our heart to be able to share a knowledge that belongs to everyone. To be able to share the environments where we can really truly feel the Spirit. To come into these kind of environments is rather challenging. And if we look at the young people today, every young generation always presents the spirit of hope. But this generation of young people have added challenges that they're going to require a lot of support from us. The added challenges of climate change, racial intolerance, and I go on and on. You know what they are. And this can only be dealt with spiritually, to reach the heart of our children, to inspire them, to be able to fulfill their own dreams. We are encouraged in our lodges is that we must live from the heart. And this is a challenge that I put for all of you here today. Are you a people of the heart? Will you live following your heart? Thank you very much. Miigwech.
Thank you so much, Dave.